The words that popped into my mind were words I had learned as a child in Sunday school. Resist not evil, but turn the other cheek. And I thought, oh my gosh, suddenly I understand what those words mean. It did, but let's go back just a step, because when that happened, I had no vocabulary with which to understand it. All I knew was that in a moment, instantaneously, I had sudden clarity about words that I had heard as a child that I had never understood before. Using the words to structure the experience that I'd just been through with the man at the door, after the fact, nothing changed. Nothing outside me changed. What changed was the way I understood those words, and it was as if suddenly, I use the words human truth puzzle, but as if all the pieces of the human truth puzzle suddenly came together and I had a full, complete picture. Clarity, instantaneously, in a nanosecond. It was a gift that was given to me because I was open to changing my own conduct without really understanding a lot of the ins and outs of it. I was searching for the vocabulary with which I could talk about this experience and communicate it to other people. So I started reading voraciously, and I didn't even have the term mystical to apply to this experience until I read William James' Varieties of Religious Experience. And when I read the chapter about mysticism, I thought, oh, that's a label, a word label I can stick on this experience, because it met all four characteristics that James said constituted a mystical experience. One, incidentally, is ineffability. You can't talk about it. I was learning that from personal experience. I could talk about it, but I wasn't communicating it. That has been my life path, which is why I've looked so hard at the words. How can I use words? And the question for about 10 or 15 years, I struggled with this thing. I tried everything I could think of, and nothing worked. But I changed one word in that kind of lifetime question that came up for me. I changed the word communicate to facilitate. I changed the question to, how can I use analytic divisive words to facilitate a unifying, holistic experience? So now I was the actor, and I was dancing with the words and dancing with whatever wisdom I had gained from this experience. And then instead of trying to communicate the experience, I was using my understanding and my skills, whatever skills I have with language, in certain situations to offer other people some gifts that might help them think about a situation in a different way, open up new options for them, and they could take them or leave them. They didn't have to accept what I was offering. Well, it's definitely, to me, it's clearly an art as opposed to a science, so that a word has meaning only in the context of a particular experience. And the meaning is going to be different to each person who is even involved in the same experience. This is an optical illusion by a gentleman named John Langdon, who used to teach at Drexel University, but he doesn't anymore. And he's given me permission to use this. Nothing in front of you changes. What do you see? Because maybe all they see is pink and black blots on a piece of paper. You could certainly verbalize it that way. That would be one way of seeing it. Some people see the word note. A lot of people see the word hate. Kinds of questions I will ask to people in a workshop, for example, is, when you see the word hate, how do you feel? The words that will usually come out will be unsafe, dark, closed in, immobilized. Mm-hmm. And if you see the word love, what do you feel? And it's usually safe, joyous, buoyant. So look, nothing on that image changes.
It's the same, right?
It's all what your mind
And
does. And it's a wonderful metaphor or analogy to the real world, because we can shape our experiences any way we choose to shape them. Is there a way in this, say, disharmonious, chaotic dynamic that's going on where I can serve, where I can position myself through choice to shift the whole dynamic, which to me is what service is about, because it's fascinating. It's a gift that I am putting out into the world. Now, people can accept the gift and start playing with it and using it, or they can be terrified by it and withdraw or open. If everyone were open to receiving this gift and standing in their own strength and power and looking at their own principles and their own intentions and their own thoughts, if they were willing to do the inner work and then start sharing their ideas with one another, we would together co-create a peaceful, powerful, prosperous planet.